So the first time that I ever made a public statement on masculinity was back in like 2020. I wrote an article for this magazine and I crowdsourced some answers from different people that I knew and from people that were reading it about what being a man meant to them. The final product was all right, but it felt really surface level. Now, recently, my wife and I were having another conversation on masculinity, coming at it from what we both know now, and we came to new conclusions with different good points. So I'm bringing the public cycle back around to talk about it and try again. So after looking back on our past observations and conversations on the topic, we noticed that everyone, including myself, I'm also guilty of it, used the terms masculinity and being a man interchangeably, and this created an inherently flawed conversation. The issue is that the term masculinity is a term that's trying to describe one specific type of energy. Meanwhile, the terms of like being a man or any kind of variation on just existing as a man is a way to describe a specific state of being. So the glaring issue is that this state of being a man is comprised of so many different energies simultaneously. Any man you meet on the street is going to be comprised of both masculine and feminine energy. So using the terms being a man and masculinity synonymously completely disregards the other critical aspects of being a man. At its best, it creates an incomplete analysis. At its worst, it contributes to toxic masculinity and more insecurities for men. So a better analysis of the conversation would include two parts. What is masculinity? What does it mean to be a man? Two questions with varying degrees of subjectivity. Let's start with masculinity. I have waxed poetic on so many different platforms with so many different people on the subject. Masculine energy is direct action. It's stability, protection, problem solving. It functions at its best in supportive roles. The sun serves as a great symbol, a very popular symbol for masculinity. It's consistent and predictable with its movements and energy output. It provides a stable environment to grow and support life and creations. Now I could go on and on talking about the different roles that masculine energy occupies and its different specific aspects, but you get the idea. Now the next question. What does it mean to be a man? Whatever you say it is. If you're a man, it's literally whatever you are. The answer is completely subjective to each person. Like I mentioned before, all men have feminine and masculine energy within them in different ratios, and it's going to manifest in different ways. One person's definition of a man might be someone who's compassionate, creative, chivalrous, not easily offended, adaptable. Another person's definition for what a man is might be someone who takes charge, someone who's filled with perseverance, someone who reaches for it and attains their goals, someone who's straightforward, completely honest at all times. Both people are completely correct, even though their definitions for what makes a man are completely different. If you're a man who's worked through a lot of childhood issues and how you process life, you could be the definition of a more healed man. If you're a man who just went through a bunch of traumatic bullshit, you'd be the definition of a hurt man. If you were someone that was born a woman and then changed their sex later in life, you'd be the definition of a trans man. There are so many different answers to the question. Literally, just pick one that resonates with you. And understand, it's not deep enough to be a divisive conversation. And on the point of divisive conversation, let's talk about who's the better leader, men or women. Because I keep coming across this specific topic in my own family and with those that my wife and I do tarot readings for. And it most definitely is a part of the greater conversation. And the answer is simple. The sex of the person in charge is irrelevant. A good leader is someone who is balanced in their energies. Someone who has their masculine and feminine energy executing and creating plans in harmony. Someone who can accurately gauge the appropriate energy to utilize in any given situation. Whether or not that person is a man or woman does not matter. And I guess at the end of the day, the only thing that really does matter is if you're working on achieving balance so that you can lead yourself.